Hi, and welcome to this week's Friday Focus. This week I wanted to talk to you about planning ahead of time. Whenever we plan ahead of time, we're always using our higher brain, our prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex is your expert. It will always give you the best advice. And when we have the ability as humans to be able to think rationally, to think to the future, and to plan ahead. Whenever we're doing something in the moment, we're using our primal brain. And our primal brain, if you listen to last week's Friday Focus, is like a toddler. It wants instant gratification. It wants to avoid any sort of discomfort or effort, and it wants everything to be easy. And your primal brain doesn't associate any negative consequences. If there's any sort of time delay, your primal brain doesn't associate the consequence. So the weight gain, the feeling sick after eating all the biscuits, the brain fog because you've eaten too much sugar, or the energy dip, your primal brain doesn't associate that with the sugar. If it happened instantly, if you ate the packet of biscuits and you instantly threw up, your brain would associate it, but it doesn't. There's a time delay. The same with a hangover. But when we engage our prefrontal cortex and we make that decision ahead of time, your higher brain is always going to give you the best advice. So let's imagine, and you can apply this to any situation. You could apply this to a client meeting. You could apply this to giving a presentation. You could apply this to any kind of situation in your life, but deciding ahead of time, right, how do I want to behave? How do I want to act? How do I want to show up? So I'm going to use the example of eating and a buffet table of desserts. So imagining that you're at a party, there's a whole table full of amazing looking desserts, and you've planned ahead of time to have a slice of one, a small slice of one. It means in that moment, you can eat that slice, really enjoy it, and then stop. Your brain will, of course, be screaming at you to eat more. We need to eat more. That was amazing. Let's have more. Let's drink more. Let's say more, whatever your situation is. But when you've decided ahead of time and you know why, then you can just sit with that discomfort. Because you know, using your higher brain, that you've chosen something that benefits you. And experiencing that emotion ahead of time and experiencing the discomfort and being willing to experience that discomfort is what's going to grow you as a person. Although, like, you don't want to grow physically, most of us are trying to lose weight, we want to shrink, but you're growing into the next version of yourself. So when you plan ahead of time, you make that decision ahead of time, in the moment when your brain's screaming at you, you could just be like, I hear you, brain, but we've made our decision and that's what we're sticking to. So I used to say to my brain, I hear you, Sue, you quite literally think we need to eat the whole packet of buttons, otherwise we're going to die. But I'm learning how to look after me now. I'm learning how to be uncomfortable. I'm learning how to look after me. Because actually the fact is, you're going to be uncomfortable either way. If you carry on overeating and over drinking, or if you don't have that challenging conversation or you don't do that presentation, you're going to feel uncomfortable because of the judgments, the criticism, the weight gain, the feeling sick, and all the negatives. So you're uncomfortable anyway. Or you can be uncomfortable and actually grow as a person. You can actually create the body that you want. You can create the mindset that you want at work or with a challenging conversation. So once you sort of decided ahead of time what you're going to do, then you just need to rehearse it. You just need to practice that in your head. So this could look like, right, I'm walking up to the buffet table. My brain's going to be telling me I want all of the desserts. I'm going to look at the desserts. I'm going to notice that thought. I'm going to pick just the one piece. I'm going to eat it and enjoy it. And then I'm just going to notice everything else. I'm going to notice the cravings. I'm going to notice my mouth watering. I'm going to notice that urge, that desperate need to do more, to have more. And I'm just going to breathe and practice imagining that in your head. Walk yourself through it. Practice breathing into that feeling. And practice thinking and imagining not eating anymore. And notice how that is in your head. And the more that you do that, by the time you get to that point, your head would have done it so many times that it would just be easy. And, you know, highly skilled sports players do this all the time. They imagine their jump, they imagine their dive, they imagine their sport, they imagine what they're doing, and they play it through in their head. So that by the time the actual time comes, it's just like another replay. And you can do this with anything. You can do this with, doing a presentation, imagining the nerves, feeling the nerves, allowing them to be there. And then imagine yourself giving that very strong, very calm, very clear presentation. And then how you're going to feel afterwards. So when we plan ahead of time, you're using your prefrontal cortex, which always serves you. Then in the moment when your primal brain is freaking out, you don't need to listen to it because the decision's already made. Makes your life so much clearer, so much calmer, and you're so much more in control. If you want any more help with this, then please get in touch because I can help you and I would love to help you. And if you also like what you've heard, please make sure you subscribe so that you pick up on any lessons and any extra things that I put up onto YouTube. Have an amazing day and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.